Hello, this is Becca from Olive Designs. Welcome. Today I am sharing my finished prompt for the Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Field Notes project. And the prompt for this month, for this 2 weeks, was insects or butterflies, something of that nature. And this is where I keep my journal for those of my new subscribers. I keep it in this little box, and this is my cover page, which I keep in here, and this is stitched to the lining that will be put on the back of all this this long piece when everything's all stitched in. And I keep it all in this little box with a magnet closure, and it's nice because I can just keep going back to this place and know where everything is when I want to work on it. And I'm keeping all of my book the same the same theme in that most of the images are done with stitching rather than fabrics or patching of fabrics, piecing and patching, and not so much cantha stitching, but embroidery. And to me, that's slow stitching. Maybe it's not for other people, but for me, I consider embroidery slow stitching. You have to sit down and slow down and just do your stitching to bring something to life, an image to life. So that's kind of the way I like to do it. And I just thought I'd share quickly too that when I'm adding these pages into my what will be the journal, as I've said before, this is 72 inches long, and if you were going to work on this edge to sew this in, you'd have to gather all of this fabric in your hand, and I found that a little bit awkward, and it also made this page shift. Even though it was pinned, there was some movement. Sometimes it would get skewed. Or the same thing with this, if you're stitching this side and you'd have to gather all this up to stitch. So I didn't care for that. The way that I'm doing it, that I find it easiest, is to just lay it out flat. And then however you're stitching, just turn it so that you're in that direction and it's easier for you to stitch. And just keep turning and rotate it around so that it's easy. Keeping it flat, it really does keep your book and your pages all in place rather than the pages shifting on it. So I'll give you a little close-up here of this page. I don't know, am I doing this right? Probably not. So here's a little close-up of my page. And I decided to put this moth on a red oak. And the reason that I did that was because that we had a red oak in our backyard at home growing up. And actually it's still there, even though someone else has bought the house now, that my mom isn't there anymore. And this tree is just huge. It's a beautiful giant. It takes, well, the last time we measured around it, it would take 4 people to go around the tree, holding hands with our arms spread out to go around this tree. And thankfully, the people that bought the house have left the tree there. It is still there and beautiful. It's just as straight and beautiful as can be. So I wanted this moth to be on a red oak, and I just wrote here red oak. And the scientific name is Quercus rubra. Hopefully I'm saying that right. And I decided to put the moth on a tree because at night, this is a night moth. This is one of the many night moths that there are, and they come out and they'll land on trees at night. So I thought, okay, I'll draw a tree on here and let him be resting there during the night. They don't feed at this age when they're adults. They've stopped feeding. And they have a short lifespan. It's maybe 7 to 10 days at best for the adult moths. And of course, they start the cycle all over again. But I had never drawn tree bark before, so I thought I'll give that a try. And I really just did kind of craggy lines on here. and then got out my Derwent pencils and did some watercolor pencils and did some coloring here just to kind of bring the tree to life. And I made some notes here: Luna moth, that they're nocturnal, and they belong to a group of giant silk moths. And they're also called the American moon moth. Excuse me. And I learned about these moths in reading a book by Jean Stratton Porter. And she was a naturalist and kind of a scientist, a photographer. And she, just trying to get this right, I know I folded it wrong. And she would take photographs, develop her own pictures. When taking pictures of these, she had a little dark room in her house, her log cabin, which was beautiful. And she would develop the pictures of these moths and different creatures. And she would go to her publisher with these books that were mostly scientific-based books. And her publishers told her that these scientific books don't sell as well as novels. So they encouraged her to go back and write a novel around whatever little creature or animal or bird that she wanted to educate and get that information out to people. So she did that. And one of the books was A Girl of the Limberlost, and I absolutely loved that book. And in that book you learn about the Luna moth and Cecropia and Regalis and Imperialis moths, these beautiful large night moths. So when they said insect, that definitely came to mind. And so for the moth, I just did a long and short stitch in this color green, and I kind of wish I had used 2 strands of thread to introduce a little bit of shading, a little lighter and darker color on there, but didn't think of it until afterwards. But I just did the moth in long and short stitch, and the finer stitches, and those were 2 or 3 strands of thread. I think these were 3. And the finer lines are done with just 1 strand of floss. This is a stem stitch going across here. And the body of the moth is white. And so just to give it a little bit of dimension and puff to make it look real, I thought even if you were drawing it, you could shade a little bit on the sides to make it look rounded. So I decided to lay some stitches down, just kind of a satin stitch that was separated maybe by 1/8 of an inch or less, 1/16 of an inch, going this way horizontally, so that when I went over it with a satin stitch vertically, it kind of padded it. It gave it that sort of a raised look. And the same thing with the little head here. And these little feelers or antenna are done with 1 strand of brown floss. And these little kind of, they almost look like eyes, are markings that are on all of the Luna moths. And I think they're really very beautiful. So they were done with 1 strand of thread as well. There's kind of a gray and an ivory like this, or a white, and then brown. This is just a French knot here to give that round portion. And this is to make the wings kind of look as if they've curled over. They're kind of a flowing wing that sort of folds over itself. So tried to make that look like the wings were folded over a little bit. And I also decided to add a ladybug. That's one of the insects that I don't mind too much. Or ladybugs, honeybees, things like that I don't mind. Most bugs to me, oh, they just make me really shiver. But ladybugs I thought were cute, so I thought I'll add a ladybug on there with this little moth to keep him or her company. And this little ladybug, I was going to draw one on, and then I found this fabric. This is a Beatrix Potter image on fabric, and this is Pigling Bland from that story, and he is carrying a bag. And I thought, oh, that could be a ladybug there. So I just cut that out and just kind of colored it in a little bit, added some dots and some black up here for the head. So that's where the little ladybug came from. And I added that little connotation, or that little note up here that this is a ladybug, as if I was writing out a journal, in a journal, a field notes journal. And I also included a rose because there have been roses still blooming in my garden, and crab apple blossom, just because I thought that was pretty to put there. And I drew this, I put a date when I draw these. So this was drawn on September 5th, 2024. And actually today is my twins' birthdays. This is such a September 12th, so this is Thursday, September 12th, and my twin girls, identical twins, birthday. And so this is exciting. This is an exciting, happy day in our family. And we found out that they were identical not too long ago. We never quite knew because they had destroyed the placenta. So, and it was a beautiful sunny day like it is today. And even more special, they were born on my mother and father's wedding anniversary, September 12th. So, so this is a special day, and I'm happy to mark this day with this video today. This will be nice to look back on. So this is my page, and it is all completed and all attached and sewn into my journal. I'm looking forward to the third prompt for summer. I think that's, I'm trying to think, what could it be? Whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be interesting. And excuse me, I haven't forgotten about the gift that I'll be giving to a subscriber, to one of my subscribers. And I did add just a couple of little things. I think I said it would be open until September 15th. We'll be having the girls' birthday this weekend on the 14th, so I'll be busy between now and then. But hopefully, I'm hoping on the 15th, or maybe I'll wait until the 15th is done, and then I'll choose a winner. But I may add a few more things as I go, as I have time. But I added a few more things here. I added some of this silky, kind of a grosgrain ribbon, which kind of goes nicely with that fabric. And I added also the same type of ribbon in pink. So I'll be including those also in the gift. And I've also added some butterflies that I thought might be interesting to add to a slow stitch project. So these might be fun to include, and of course these can be embellished with threads or with watercolor pencils or Inktense pencils. This one actually looked very pretty with this page. These colors looked so pretty, but it was huge. It's just, even if I did it where I just had half of the butterfly showing, it would have dwarfed this moth. I mean, because that's a large moth. And it's really not even in perspective with the little ladybug, but I think if I made it in perspective, you'd hardly see the ladybug. So these are some of the extra things that I'll be adding to this gift as well. And I'll probably be tucking a few more things in there too. So that drawing will be open until the 15th of September. So thank you very much for joining me today and for joining me on this journey, and I'm wishing you many blessings. See you in the next video. Bye for now.